then, Rob, we got the Suns and the Clippers tonight, Game 5. Suns up 3-1. This series, from the get-go, you had Paul George out. So that took a little pop out of it. But then the Clippers won Game 1, and it was like, oh, wow. And then, Phoenix came back, won Game 2. And then Kawhi Leonard got hurt. And, Rob, now it's Russell Westbrook going against, Durant and Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. And, Norman Powell, he's got some help, but obviously he's the only star trying to fend off 3 stars for the Suns. So they're facing an uphill battle, probably going to be eliminated tonight. But, Rob, Russell Westbrook, after 2 seasons of just, I know he was throwing up a lot of bricks. I know he was turning the ball over. We said from the get-go he never was a fit. It was asinine of the Lakers to even bring him there.
That was a first guess, Chris, not even a second guess. First guess.
Come on, I'm sorry. It was ridiculous. But I think for as bad of a fit as he was and as poorly as he played at times, I think the blame game went too far on Russell Westbrook. You would think he was the only problem. Everything else was working swimmingly. Never mind that Anthony Davis missed half of last season and obviously was hurt this year. Never mind that LeBron missed a lot of games and obviously spent time hurt this year. It was all Russ's fault, according to seemingly everyone. And he has come back, and I think we both thought, I thought that with the Clippers, it was a good fit. And Rob, he has had a great series, and I do mean great. 26 points, 7.5 rebounds, 7.3 assists, and on 46% shooting. Even in his heyday, he was not an efficient shooter. Right. 46% is above his career average. And 41% from 3, which, again, for Russ, who's not a good three-point shooter, that's big. So I think he's been good. It's good to see. I don't know what he'll do tonight. No matter how poorly he plays, you can't take away what he's done in this series. Even Game 1, Rob, he shot 3 for 19, but still was really, tremendous defensively and in rebounding. It was a big factor in why they won that game. Do you think he has saved some face and maybe even enhanced his value on the free agent market this offseason?
I think he saved his career, to be honest. I really do. I think that it's that obvious, Chris. Remember when he first joined the Clippers, they lost like their first 5 games, and people were saying, see, why did you get Westbrook? He's this, he's that. And this postseason has been good with no Paul George before when he's playing with Kawhi. And after they won Game 1 on the road against the Suns, and like you said, he came up big, not shooting-wise. And then after that, he shot the ball really well. Yep. You talked about it with his numbers and all that. I'm not going to repeat them. But I think that he is viable. He did the anti-Carmelo Anthony to his career. Like there will be somebody, Chris. Huh?
Good point.
Yeah, there will be somebody who will be like, he can help us. He can maybe sell tickets for us. We don't, now I'm not saying like the greatest teams, but there are teams that need somebody to be their main guy and score some, and score some points and bring some excitement to the arena. Everybody you talk to who watches him play says you can't see anybody playing harder, Chris, all the time. Never cheat you. Am I right? Never cheat you.
No, you're right. And in fact, Kevin Durant and Chris Paul were asked about Russ after Game 4.
Yeah, I saw that. They went to bat for him. They hit a grand slam.
They did. Here's what they said.
Russ has been resilient his whole life. He come to work, don't say much, just come hoop. So, when he's retired, people are going to really tell the truth about how they feel about his game. Right now, it's a fun thing to do is to make a joke out of Russ. But he the way he's been playing is since he got with the Clippers, showed everybody who he really is.
I feel like the only people to do that, too, is the people who don't know basketball.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And don't know what it's like to compete. I know for me, Russ is one of my closest friends. You know what I'm saying? And so people that do that and talk crazy probably wish they could be in that situation.
I'll address both. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm going to say is I just think that like Chris Paul, when guys do that, Chris, like when there's criticism, and he said it, he's a friend of mine, one of my best friends or whatever, but to act like nobody knows basketball because they criticize Westbrook is ridiculous. Like I think that, like, oh, they're all watching and then they're on the sidelines and they can't play. But these same players got a problem with Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and
if one of them said it. Which they did, to be honest.
And that's my point. Do you know what I mean, Chris? Does Charles Barkley know nothing about basketball or Kenny Smith? Come on, man. I think that's just too easy to always say that it's writers who don't know the game, Chris, who didn't play in the NBA or whatever. Right. I just think that's too easy of an excuse to say that. Everybody knows whether you're a Westbrook fan or not. He struggled with the Lakers. Just let's be honest. He struggled with the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, look, he did shoot balls off the side of the backboard. He did shoot air balls. He did make some almost incomprehensible turnovers.
Yes.
That's true. There's no doubt about it. I will say this, though, and I agree with you. You can't just make a blanket statement like that. Nobody knows basketball.
Right.
But I do think this. I do think there are some guys, Rob, that, like Russell, there are players who play with so much energy, so much heart, so much force, and are so athletic, in some cases, so athletic and strong, and Westbrook for his size would certainly be strong, that even if they don't have the greatest skills, they're a handful. And I think that is something that sometimes some people don't understand. So Russell Westbrook, by point guard standards, you wouldn't call him the most skilled guy. He's got a good handle, obviously, but not a fantastic handle. He can pass and get a lot of assists, but no, I would not call him a superb passer. Obviously, he doesn't shoot it very well. He doesn't have, time and score. That's something that a point guard, should really be a master of. That's not Russ. But he can put so much. I think when you're going against him and even playing with him, I just think he puts so much pressure on defense because he's so fast and is so always in attack mode. That I think those guys, even if he's not having a great statistical game, and look, let's face it, his stats are great generally, other than turnovers and shooting percentage. I mean, he gets triple doubles. But I do think that sometimes people don't understand. You just looking at the numbers, whether it's him or some other role player, Rob, you can miss, not you, but just I'm speaking generically, how effective a guy like that can be. We had a guy when I was in college, our sophomore year. That was really our only really good year in basketball, record-wise. And our center was like 6'2". I mean, we had taller guys, but he was our center. And he was stocky and wasn't really a great player. Didn't shoot that well, but he could jump out of the gym. He was strong and only averaged like 4 points, about 5 or 6 rebounds. And then he got hurt and had to miss like the second half of the season. And the guy we put in for him was better skilled and probably a better player, but we missed him and it wasn't the same. And it hurt because, he could box guys out. He was strong. He could jump, so he was affecting shots even if he didn't block it. And there are guys like that. And I'm not, again, you can't, it's ridiculous to say everybody that criticized Russ don't know the game. But I do think sometimes there are some people that miss things like that, Rob.
Yeah, I get that. And I just think that in Russ's case, Chris, why it all came on him, I think was pretty obvious.
He was
LeBron and AD had already won a championship without him. And there was a big thing that they needed another player, and they went to get him. And you saw the videos, and we get it. And I think there was a bigger spotlight. And I'm not saying that people didn't watch him, but when you play for the Lakers, Chris, you're on a bigger stage. Can you, right? More eyeballs are watching you night in and night out.
Well, especially with LeBron, because it's always expected to be, you got to compete for a championship.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think that's why, he was the new piece. You can't say AD, and then Westbrook was on 5 teams in 5 years, Chris, or 14, right? Where was he? OKC. Then he went to
Houston,
Washington,
the
Lakers, and then he went to Utah for a cup of coffee and a sweet roll. He never played, and then he came to the Clippers.
Right.
So when you see somebody bouncing around like that, right, it's something's wrong with them. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he's a tough fit. I mean, no matter, you saw it, Rob, with Allen Iverson in Detroit. And Iverson, obviously an all-time great.
Right.
Pistol Pete Maravich, all-time great. Russ, all-time great. But you got to be like, they're not an easy fit. We talk about Kevin Durant, right? Drop him anywhere, he'll be fine. These guys they play a certain way. And so it's a tough fit. You can't just drop them in on any team. Russ, Rob, you brought up some teams, bad teams that might want him. The teams with most cap room: Houston, San Antonio, Utah, Oklahoma City, Detroit, Indiana, Orlando. I don't think he fits any of those teams, Rob, as just far as timeline, right? Like, they're young. They want to let their young players grow and develop. I don't see why any of them would be interested in Russ. I actually think the best place for him to play next year is the Clippers. Now, I think they can only maybe offer him about $6 million, like, mid-level exception or something like that. So I don't think he's getting a big payday, like, what he's been used to getting, max money. But I think the Clippers is the best fit. I mean, he could go back to Washington. Washington is one of those teams that just does middling stuff like that, right? We're not really going anywhere. We just kind of treading water, But I think the Clippers, especially, Rob, now is Kawhi's health, in jeopardy for the future, and Paul George loves Russ. I think that's where, look, he's from L.A. He might want to stay there, He should have enough money. He is smart. He graduated 6th in his high school class. So he's smart. I assume he's been smart with his money. He should. I don't think he should necessarily make this decision based on money, Rob. If he's happy in L.A., he's at home, it's a good fit. They appreciate what he brings. I think that'd be a good place for him.
Yeah, he could stay there.